Like, damn, bro, set this time. He's like, yeah, we was waiting on you, Bubba. Can you hear?
Hold on just a second, man. I'm trying to connect it to my truck. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't barely hear y'all, man.
My bad. Let me
It's like it's only
Nah, I
on my
mean,
phone. It won't connect to my truck.
oh, you got your Bluetooth on? And StreamYard has a Bluetooth feature like where you go to settings and in your settings you could do audio and you could choose what speakers. So if you got like phone speakers or Bluetooth speakers, it'll adjust that way.
You said go to settings,
Yeah.
audio.
Then you see speaker. Do it give you options there?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
All right, cool.
All right.
So yeah, man. Man, coach's review, man. We had a big weekend. Uh, it was interesting to say the least. Heavy competition was played. I think we're happy with the level of competition. But we'll go into that. Um, but yeah, man, let's kind of dive into it, man. Like last week, we were all kind of like licking our chops at this opportunity to go into last weekend. And how do you feel like do you feel like the plan that we had last week was good enough or was sufficient enough to take us into the weekend? Now, what is it?
Um,
Hindsight 2020.
Hindsight being 2020. I mean, I feel like we had an adequate game plan, but we weren't able to execute during the week to prepare. I mean, the weather played a pretty big factor, and we did not get the reps that we needed uh, to prepare. You know what I mean? We all had kind of plans of what we wanted to accomplish this week, and I'll put it up to y'all. Do y'all feel like y'all accomplished everything you wanted to at practice this past week? Because I don't feel like that at all.
I would say we had a pretty good jump on it. I think we had a solid week of practice. As far as what we were really trying to attack, uh, I think we fed it pretty hard, especially with the heavy day going on Wednesday. I think it was, um, and I thought that was enough prep to only have to clean up a little bit the next 2 days. You know what I'm saying? Like the main course of the meal was complete for me. We just had to add some salad to it, and that's how I felt going into Friday. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's how I felt. But
so my thing is let's take a look at the top three goals that we set for ourselves coming into the week, last week, which was improve the outfield, which we did a lot of work on that. Improve pop flies, which we did a lot of work on that. Uh, and then the third was batting. And I feel like we did an adequate amount of work there. So as far as the work that we put in, I feel like we were a day short because we didn't have that Tuesday. Um, but if those were the three things that we wanted to address, I do feel like we came forward with a plan and executed a plan somewhat properly that addressed those three areas. Was it enough? I mean, we can see by general just how the outfield moved in general was, I think, just a detriment when it came down to it. Just overall this weekend, just a couple too many balls got through the gap. We were preaching the right thing, saying keep the ball in front, but maybe we show a few more examples of what that looks like this week with the ball coming at you at different angles, not just pop flies. Because line drives are coming to the
He must be hitting a dead spot.
Yeah, I can't hear him. I mean, it's
Can
there.
you
He
not
is.
hear
All
me?
right,
Yeah, we get you now.
you broke up the last 10 seconds.
He's breaking them now.
Yeah,
But there was a lot of line drives being hit. I'll go ahead and throw my perspective till he come back. There was a lot of line drives being hit. Like I said, I think we were preaching the right things. Man, I thought we drilled it. Maybe some of the alignments weren't properly, you know what I mean? We wasn't right on it on some of the alignments. And maybe we need to work on something one of y'all said last week is alertness and not being asleep at the helm. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of
yeah,
times we wasn't.
that was
I wasn't necessarily saying that was a problem. I was saying that overall
Hello.
ability was a problem. Yeah, we can hear you, but I was saying the overall ability to cover plot fives, hits the outfield wasn't there. And like I said, I when I left Wednesday's practice, I felt good about what kids knew how to do. You know what I mean? Now, what they actually did is a little different or not as efficient. But I feel like on Wednesday, what we did, I feel like the kids knew um, what should be what should happen in those situations. And they were catching a lot more at practice. Like they was catching the balls at practice.
I feel like pop flies was one thing that we gave a lot of reps to, and we definitely improved in that area. Um, but I think one of the other things that we were trying to work on that week was, prep step and being prepared and knowing where the play is and just being locked in. And I know it's hard to preach being locked in to, kids that are 6 and 7 and 8, but, I don't know, man, kids stay locked in when they got their dang tablet, you know what I mean? So obviously there's some things that can capture their attention. And Thursday I left practice frustrated, and I know it was a rainy week and it was that's one of the things that just really crushed us this past weekend, man, was when balls were getting hit to the outfield, and and even sometimes in the infield, there just wasn't any kind of movement. It was just a delayed reaction, and I mean that's something that I really want to work in on this week is just being locked into a play, being athletic, knees bent, wait forward, watching what's going on, not sitting straight up, holding your arm, holding your glove, got your belly out. I mean, like that chews me up, man, because I mean, like that's one thing that you ain't talented to pay attention. You don't. You don't got to be skilled to pay attention. That's one thing that we can do and we can work on, no matter how far along or how short we are in this journey as baseball players. And that's one thing that definitely chapped me on Thursday. I saw a lot of rainy day, but then I seen it again when we got tired. And I know it's hot, and I know that we're asking a lot of these kids, but again, that's one thing that we can always control. You know what I mean? You can't control where the ball's hit. You can't control, uh, a lot of things out there in baseball. But one thing you can control is I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be prepared for this play. Let me get ready.
Go ahead, Matt. Before you went out, you was on some of our line drives in the outfield.
You got a little bit better signal now. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I think the last thing we could have prepared for if we had a good third day would be just hot grounders and hot line drives coming at those outfielders. Pop-ups, I think we did play properly for the most part. Maybe one or two fell out there that you know, we would have liked a little bit better attack on, or maybe a little bit better angle on. And again, that comes with reps. But that's one layer that we can add, or one wrinkle we can add to make sure the outfield is a little bit better prepared this week, as opposed to last week. I did hear the tail end of Massey talking about preparedness. Um, we did try to implement prep step a little bit more this week, and I think we got to double down and triple down on that for all players all around the field, man. We got to be paying attention. If you're paying attention, you give yourself the best opportunity to make that play. So, all of those things I think play a part. But I'll defer back to you guys because I did miss a chunk of that conversation.
The infield though were great, and with the S at the same time. Like sometimes we made some great plays, other times we be like, "Yo, this don't make sense on how y'all letting this even get past y'all like that." So, what do you think we could have did better with the infield, or did we not work enough with the infield as we normally do? Is that what?
I do think the infield took a little bit of a backseat this week.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mac. You got it. I think Messi's stuck.
There he is. Go ahead, Messi.
I was just going to agree that the infield took a bit of a backseat.
We are
ahead,
having
Mac.
technical difficulties on all sides today, man. We're on the road, guys. You got to forgive us.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I think it took a little bit of a backseat, and I think like I one of the things we detailed. I mean, the middle infield played way better this weekend than any other weekend, but we gotta find a way, and we may have to switch things around a little bit more. We got to find a way to try to get maybe. I don't even want to do it because of how good he does and where he is, but maybe find a way to get that strongest infielder to that stop spot. That's one thing I noticed with the teams we were playing against this weekend. It was a hole at second, maybe it was a hole at third, maybe. Shortstop was like lights out. You know what I mean? And right now we had a couple little gaps at third base this week. Had a couple of gaps at shortstop this week. Way better play from I think third and short than we have in past weeks. But that's just one area where I think that left side of the field a little bit more. Like I said, better perform. We finally got some outs from short. Finally got some outs from third. But I think we got to continue to shore up that left side of the field a little bit more. Even if that means, like I say, moving a couple of things around and trying something new over there, potentially, and seeing what I mean. Maybe some guys look like that too, because that's just one thing I know. The shortstop play was at an all-time high, especially when we were playing against like Renegades. Renegades, he was attacking everything in front of the ball like that. I don't even remember their second baseman. Genuinely. I don't think he had an opportunity to attack a ball and make a play. So, we may have to think about making that just to shore up that side of the field, because like I say, third base and shortstop, I think were the weaker points of the infield when it came to this weekend. I mean, we're locking down that right side pretty good, man. It's just that left side getting to us sometimes.
When it comes to shortstop, and I think we kind of made this cross comparison before. We don't have the superstar QB. We don't have the Peyton Manning. We don't have the Tom Brady.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We got Brock Purdy's. You know what I'm saying? And although these guys can be good wherever we put them, we're going to get Brock Purdy, Kaepernick. You know what I mean? Anybody you can kind of fit in that middle tier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just the only unfortunate part. You know what I mean? I don't even know if I'll put it at a Jalen Hurts level. Maybe, but it's we don't
You
have the
you you
lights out.
keep you keep bringing up my guy Jalen Hurts, man. You know how I feel about that. I'm gonna let that
I,
slide this time.
I, I like Jalen
But
Hurts.
nah,
I think he's a competitor, and
we
well, in that regard, I think we do have like a Jalen Hurts. We have very competitive, passionate individuals who don't
very much so.
who do not necessarily have all the things like you're not going to first round draft pick them. We don't got no first round draft picks at the shortstop.
And
You
I
know what I'm
mean,
saying? We got some late second rounders, some third rounders.
I think we mix it up a little bit this week and see what the heck we got. You know what I mean? I just think that's gonna benefit us. And at the same time, um, like I say, even if it's just a couple of simple switches, but we got to see what third base looks like with two or three other guys. We got to see what shortstop looks like with two or three other guys. We got to see what second base looks like with two or three other guys. And I think we have a firm grasp on what first base looks like with, I would say our probably top two alternative first basemen. So I think we got a firm grasp on what one looks like all the way around, what Mound looks like all the way around. I think Ben did a great job solidifying catcher this weekend in a different route. Like I said, we were able to make a play there that just hadn't necessarily quite been there just yet. We were still reluctant to throw home, but I think that's still the best strategy unless we have to. And I don't care who's at that position. Even if your guys lights out, every time we let those force outs come around, and we got guys on 2 and 3, it just came back to bite us. You know what I mean? So
Yes, we lost him.
Yeah. Just when it comes to that, I feel like there's such an opportunity. Like, and we go back and forth with it. You're right. Let's keep the force out. But at this
Yeah,
level of play, man, every point is starting to matter. Like every
it,
point is starting to matter. And if we could hold some at third, you know what I'm saying? Instead of having that run go home, man, I think that we can hopefully get lucky enough on the next pitch, on the next batter, where they might hit a pop
I
up,
gotta
easy ground ball.
I gotta disagree, man. The majority of our outs this season have come from second, and I want to say the vast majority. I don't have the book in front of me, but I would say 95%. Well, no, let me take that back. Because we've gotten a lot of outs at first. Um, but again, I would say, I mean, and it's those force outs. It's a force out at first, and it's a force out at second where we're getting the majority of our outs. Our, number three up there is our pop flies. We're getting those outs. Tag outs are just hard to get, and we exemplify that on the base path. We've been tagged out twice, and now correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean I think we've been tagged out twice. I know we got two this weekend. Once with West at third, and then one with Karan at home. But yeah, I mean that's just the difference, man. It's hard to tag kids, man. It's a heck of a lot easier to step on the bag and get that force. Uh, so I don't know, I've been coaching, out there when I'm coaching in left that the kids need to be. Sorry, I'm navigating. The kids need to be, you know, throwing to three or throwing to two, and so much so that left center, I wanted him throwing to two, even if that meant that the runner on first had already gotten past him and was headed to three. I would rather second base get that ball and run to the mound, you know what I mean, and kind of keep everybody in check. That way we still keep the force out, as opposed to having a runner at two and three. Because, I would challenge you to go back and look at the book, man. We weren't getting those outs unless we did happen to get lucky with a pop fly.
So other teams are getting these tags on us, right? Is that something we strive for moving forward? Like,
Well,
That's the level of
I
play, right? We're not used to tag outs being made, and they got crucial ones on us. So is that
we've
something
gotten
that we should
tag
implement, try to push for?
we've gotten tag outs past weekends, and if I'm not mistaken,
We got them at 3.
we got them at three. We got them at three this week. I think we got one
Yeah,
at three this weekend. So we're getting tag outs at three. So if there is a possibility uh, to get ahead of that runner and still get it to three, even if that kid is rounding two, I'm secure enough with three play to know most of those are going to get caught. If it's a non-target throw, we should be good to get that caught and hold that runner. And I think we were able to run runners back to two more than one time as well and maintain our force out that way. There was a time or two where throw might not have been on target or catch might not have been made smooth and the runner was able to get to three, in which case now that other runner gets to two. But I think it's a timing thing. And if it's left field, and we can keep the ball in front of us and collect it clean, then yeah, we always go three and walk that runner back to two. You know what I mean? I still agree with that. If we can keep two force outs on bag, I'm doing that. You know what I mean? So I still think that's first
Absolutely.
option. But yeah, using two and letting that runner go every now and then, if we got to use our judgment calls on that one. Um, but either way, we hold that force, and it just all depends on how many outs do we have on the board right now. Is it worth it to even take
Yeah.
that chance and go three and try to get that tag right now? I think most
Yeah.
times it is. I think most times it is, but sometimes it is okay to play it safe and hold that out on one, especially let's say we got two outs. We're up and we're trying to hold it to a minimum, or we're trying to stop the bleeding, because that's the issue. Is once the bleeding starts,
we
sometimes it
can't
gets
stop
difficult
it.
to stop.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the way we stop it is let's stop being over ambitious and let's hold something. Let's hold something because we can't bank on that next play being a pop fly or a catchable ball. So we gotta hold something. You know what I mean? And it just gives us our best chance. When you got a runner on one, everybody's reluctant to send that runner to two when you see that ball in the air. Our infield catches the ball well enough. Our outfield catches the ball well enough, or definitely has at times where people are gonna hold that runner. So even if that ball drops, we still got a good chance of getting that out at two. That got from two to three is
Yep.
a different story. That got from two to three for whatever reason is just a different story. It don't work out that same way. So just looking at the actual analytics of it, um, can you guys hear me? Yeah, looking at the actual analytics of it, holding that runner on one is always going to give us our best option of getting that out. And like I said, the goal is 6 innings of baseball. If we don't allow more than 2 runs in any inning, we're going to go 3 and out a couple of times. We're going to hold them to one a couple of times. Let's say they get two a couple of times. That's 8 points. We've outscored that almost every game we played. So that's just how I look at it: is stop the bleeding, hold it to 2 runs, even if that means letting one or two go. Keeping those force outs is imperative, just for the way we play ball and our success. Like one of the guys said to us this weekend, we play small ball. You know, I did take it personally initially, and I took it as a slight for a moment. But then I thought about it, and again, the Yankees and the Oakland A's got the same record. Two different payrolls, two different ways of constructing their team. Um, and one team is predicated on good hits and speed. Other one's predicated on power and power. We don't have to use that. We have a little power, not quite as much as maybe a couple of these other teams we faced. And I don't think that's the case, just as much as we have to continue to make tweaks in how we're pitching the ball and continue to make tweaks in how they're hitting the ball. And I do believe our talent is superior. But dinking and dunking ain't the worst, man. Letting one go to get two on bag, I can do that. Putting the ball on the ground rather than trying to hit a line drive every time, just so we can use our speed to get the first, I can do that. If those are the things we have to employ to win games against better teams, that's just good coaching. You can call it small ball if you want to, but if we end up with a W, you call that good coaching. So, that's where I stand on that.
I definitely feel the same when I heard the small ball slight. I took it as straight disrespect, right? You know what I mean? Because it's just like where it came from. You ain't played up here. You know what I mean? It's a different it's a different kind of beast. But at the same time, that's one thing I definitely noticed about these other teams, man. Like it's consistent pressure on on weird spaces in the outfield. You know what I mean? Like where some of these teams mounds all almost becoming obsolete. Like we could play without a pitcher at this point. Against some of these teams, line them up somewhere else. I don't know. Let's get a fifth outfielder or something. You know, if it was allowed in the rules, like I would almost be okay with that. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things. I don't know. Can we do that? I'm gonna look up.
Nah, we can't, man.
I'm gonna look up the rules. If we could do something like that, they're gonna have a problem. But yeah, man, that's what a lot of it is. And you know, it's unfortunate that you know that you see our style of play is small ball. Well, not really, but you know, because you just explained it in the way you did. Just for me though, um, we do need to tweak some things in our power, and I think if we transition the conversation, what should move forward is probably the strength in our batting. Right, we need this. We need to go to a little bit more harder hits, um, and figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to accomplish that for the rest of the week. What you got, Messi?
Yeah, I would
What do you
definitely
think the
say
plan?
timely hitting.
Yeah,
Timely hitting is something that we were lacking this weekend. Um, and I mean, one of the things that I was talking with Mac about yesterday is I'd like to see a lot more reps of just backing each other up, and not even a situational rep where it's like you got two kids lined up and you hit the ball and one of them goes for it and one of them backs up. And they need to make that decision on their own. I'd rather see kids, one cone is always backing up, one cone, where the kids are lined up. One cone's always backing up, one kid's going for the reps and just getting more repetition on that. And this is just my, thought process on it is that when it plays out in the game scenario, whichever kid gets the jump on the ball, the other one's going to go, oh, shoot, it's my turn to back up, as opposed to getting like this little half a second hesitation. Um, the things I really want to see this week, man, are yeah, being ready and knowing where to go. And I think we're going to get that with just kind of not mindless reps, but just some pretty serious reps with just backing each other up. Period.
uh, to that before Mac takes. One thing I've kind of talked about yesterday. You know, we did a little workout yesterday and kind of thought about it. I had one calling for the ball and one communicating. I have the backup. Um, I think keep implementing this throughout the week of, hey, I got ball, I got back. You know what I mean? Those communications. That way, the one that's calling for the ball, if the other one says I got backup, he can still go aggressively at the ball because sometimes they let up if they're both calling for ball and the other one has nothing to say. You know what I mean? So little keywords like that, like, oh, I got you, or I think somebody did it. I think it was one of the other dads. CJ's dad, CJ fielded the ball and he ain't over to throw, and his dad was like, oh, I got you. And he was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like, hey, I'm available, so to throw to a base. I think those little keywords like that, getting them to communicate a little bit better, man. I think that changes. Uh, it adjusts how we move forward if we can get them to communicate and say, I got ball, I got backup. Where is everybody at? And we can listen to those little things. It's not going to be smooth because definitely it's the first week that we're really trying to implement that secondary,
Yeah.
conversation. But it should make us somewhat better. It'll get us one extra out. It'll save us one extra double play, like double that. You know what I mean? That they could keep a play at single, and therefore we stick with the 4 outs.
I like that. I like that. I want to, outfield needs to be played in layers. Um, in any way we can drill that. Like I was kind of telling Massey, I like that drill. Almost going back to how we were talking about just the the approach with the shoulder. How there are layers, and you got one layer of a remedy, and I think we just need to continue to add wrinkles to the drill. You said so. Break it down to the bare bones minimum. Just always backing up, always going for the ball. Okay, cool. And then as we progress, get them to start to determine who's going for the ball. And 100 reps in, guys are just going to be more comfortable than they were on the first rep. So I think it's all a good plan. I think we look at today and maybe try to come at it with the bare bones approach, the most simplistic approach to all of our issues. So back to that point, do we have the same issues to fix as last week, or do we modify the goals at all? Do we move the goalpost?
I think we add another wrinkle defensively. Essentially, our defense played good, man. If we take an overall, except for those couple hiccups, and one of those hiccups really is, and it bites us every game that we lose. It seems to be like some type of stop and go. You understand what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
and maybe we do that at practice, right? Let's get them going, right? And right in the middle, stop them, tell them to go to the dugout, and then send them back out. And there's 2 outs. We need 1 more out. Maybe we add that to our scenario.
Man, that's
situation.
not a bad idea.
You know what I mean? Because
That's really not a bad idea,
in the bigger games, that's killed us. Like the fact that the pitcher of the other team's a doctor, and there's another guy on 2 fields down is having a heart attack. He runs off the field. We're in the middle of getting this out, like because we was clean. It was 2 outs clean. We take a 15, 17-minute delay, 22-minute delay, whatever it might have been. And now we just forget all things because our guys is in the dugout. They're thinking they're about to hit. It's a different mentality. You know what I'm saying? On switching from defense to, I'm about to go hit on offense. You understand what I'm saying? So a way to keep our kids locked in, you know what I mean? And maybe that's the wrinkle, right? Hey, come in. Y'all about to hit. No. Go back on the field. Nobody's hitting. You understand what I'm saying? And that can kind of condition us for just weird scenarios that we keep running into. It's not even weird at this point. We keep running into it.
We can implement that in one swing.
Well, I think, yeah. I was going to say, I mean, that just kind of goes back to the preparedness and being locked in, you know, and being able to turn that on and turn that off. That's, I know I'm really big on energy and momentum and trying to keep the kids hyped and engaged. And yeah, I mean, trying to practice situations where, yep, we lost the momentum. All right, let's go pump these sales back up. You know, I think that's definitely not a bad idea to try and replicate that and combat it.
Another way is let's say we're doing one swing. We have our, one of our infields in, and they get 2 outs. And then all of a sudden, we just let them know, hey, those 2 outs don't count anymore. Back down to 0. Just completely deflate them, and make them get 3 outs again.
Yeah, I like that
stuff. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that is fighting through the mental. And let's be real. We walked off in the bottom of the 6th, down 4 this weekend. Put that into perspective, real quick, fellas.
Oh, that was huge.
We don't lay down. We're not mentally weak. A lot of the things that we're doing are working. You know what I mean? And a lot of the decisions that we've made thus far have panned out fairly well. I think right now we have to continue to show flexibility and versatility in the game moments, and that's going to have to start with practice. So we're going to have to show some flexibility and versatility throughout the week.
He must have been on the road because he just blacked out.
Yeah, I got to where I was going. I'm parked. I'm going to send a text to my customer, let them know I'm almost there.
But no, I mean, I think he was onto something though. Mentioning we don't lay down. We're quite the fighters of a team. You know what I mean? It's not even close. And I use that sometimes, even to tell them like, hey, you guys are way more battle tested than a lot of these teams. They're not going to be able to have this type of endurance that you guys are having. So I think it's important that you guys understand the moment and say, "Hey, I'm gonna keep fighting through this." It seems like these other guys are. You good?
I'm back.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, show that versatility, creativity throughout the week. Switch it up. Be willing to switch it up on game day and just see what works the best, man. And that's what's going to beat some of these better teams. Making that adjustments on the fly. Those are the things they're doing against us that I don't think we've done a good enough job doing against them. Just making the right adjustment on the fly. And they've had more time with their kids, so they know what kid has a good secondary and tertiary position. We're still trying to find that out. What's the second and third best position for this kid? And last I talked to you guys about a move that I thought about making this weekend, and then all of the other factors as to why that move didn't get made. Because it's always a little bit more than just, hey, go here, especially when we're not implementing it throughout the week. So I think we got 6 hours with these kids this week. You telling me I can't get 30 minutes with this kid at one position? It's 6 hours of practice. I can try him out over here for 30. I can try him out over here for 30. And we can see what a couple other things look like just to kind of continue to learn our team and see what we have. And that's going to make us better coaches, and that's going to make us better in those moments. So that's kind of something I see us wanting to implement this week is a little more flexibility.
Flexibility. So right now I got flexibility in positions. For me, it's definitely the bigger bats. One thing we did do is we attacked it. We front loaded our batting order, and I think it showed us some good reward on that. I liked how we did that, and if we stick to it, I think that gets better. We didn't get the exact result we wanted out of it, but it could really be something that could really, like, if it goes, it's gonna be nasty work. You know what I'm saying? So I like that approach. We'll talk about it and see who's available to keep implementing that kind of approach. And so bigger bats for me, flexibility for you. What you got, Massey? What you think something we need moving forward into this week? Because it only gets tougher. It only gets tougher. Looking at the bracket and who's in what, man, it's nasty work, man. It's crazy. It's lightweight scary. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I'm scared. I'm just saying that's a lot of pressure. And for us to be so new of a team and only just forming, it's running on the fly.
Reps, building better habits. That's it in a nutshell for me, man. It's just getting the reps to build better habits. That's just gonna make us more competitive all the way around. And jumping on the bad habits when we see them. That's what I'm going to be focused in on this week. And,
thank you for saying that,
I might be a bit of a pitbull.
We letting too much shit slide. Excuse my language. Now, I think it's time to just continue to turn the temperature up a little bit more. We don't have to be in your face, rah, rah, rah. But it's certain things that are acceptable and certain things that are no longer acceptable if we're going to be the type of team that we need to be to beat these better teams. So, any shortcomings, guys, unfortunately, doesn't look bad on the kids. It looks bad on us. So, we have to solve those issues. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how I feel about it. Disciplinary, when I say discipline, I don't mean cracking the whip every 2 seconds, but we need our guys to be disciplined. So, there does have to be a little bit of a punishment and reward system for doing the right things and the wrong things. That's just life. You know what I mean? We do have to set certain boundaries up, in the dugout and in between games to make sure we're staying on the right page and making sure everybody's staying in the right mental space. Winning at any level that's not entry level. So if we're winning this is an all-star level. Winning at an all-star level going against A and B teams, it's a lot more to it than just the talent that you have. You know what I mean? It becomes a lot of the little things. So I think, Fancher, you say bigger bats and kind of pushing a little bit of their mental. I think being versatile and flexible, Massey, they pound away at the stone and keep getting these reps that we need and developing the best habits. I think all three of those things contribute to our overall success. But I just think moving forward, making sure that we have a BlackSox way, and let's double down on what we feel like that BlackSox way is, and making sure that we're implementing the right things, so we don't just send a certain skilled kid away from our program. We send a certain kid away from our program mentally. You know that kid came from the Kevins, because not only does he field the ball like this, not only does he throw the ball like this, but he deals with adversity like this. He bounces back like this. They come back with a 2-out rally in the bottom of the 6th inning like this. They don't give up. Like, these are the things, I think those are the other things that we start to develop into a BlackSox way. And that's what's going to make us that Steelers franchise, that New England's Patriots franchise, and not that Oakland Raiders franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's solid. That's a good way to end it. What you got, Master? You any closing thoughts?
I mean, something that just kind of, struck me just a second ago is just what Max said. It's we're tolerating too much. We need to tighten down a little bit on what is acceptable and what is unacceptable, and we need to hold these kids to a higher standard, because we're playing at a higher standard. Or at least we want to play at a higher standard. And that is the goal. I think we've reached some pretty decent benchmarks this season in terms of success. But we want more. That's us, man.
Yeah.
We are successful, but we're not resting on our laurels. We want more. I was looking at the rankings today. We're ranked 56 out of 97, which is pretty good for a bunch of kids that hadn't played together, all spring. It's pretty good for, a bunch of kids that just kind of came together a couple weeks ago. That doesn't mean that it's enough to satisfy us, but
I am not satisfied with a 50-something.
No, that's exactly.
I'm not satisfied with no.
Listen.
Out of 100 teams, we're 57. Heck no,
56.
man.
56.
Nah, hell no.
That's
listen,
not a fair representation of who we are, but I'll take it.
Yeah, man. Top 20 maybe. But not.
Hey, we're one good weekend away from top 20.
I agree.
One good weekend away from top 20.
Well, I mean,
1-3-1.
We're up.
1-3-1, 1-4-0 weekend away from top 20.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we could rank higher if we decided to slum it and play a bunch of boo-boo teams. But I mean, we embrace competition, because that's what you want, man. You want to be battle tested, and that's what we've gone after. And 4-6 after 3 pretty serious battle testing weeks is pretty good. It's not everything.
I tell people we're like,
it's not everything.
Kentucky
Lord, no,
and
it's far
SEC.
from it. But
we're like Kentucky. We're like the Vanderbilt in the SEC. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going out to, like, if we played anybody in the Pac-10 or something like that, it's they're lunch meat. You know what I'm saying? Pac-12, it's over. Like, but I don't know. Man, when these bigger teams, these bigger programs, they come and there's just one thing, they don't look better. Like, they don't pass the eye test, but on the field, something they just are consistently doing better than us is putting pressure on that outfield. So that's just that's like having a line. Like, their linemen are just all 300 pounds.
That's a good way to put it. Well, I mean, hell, let's get the ball to the outfield this week, fellas. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's attempt to be better coaches, and let's raise the expectation and the level of performance of our kids. One more time this week and one more time the week after that. I think we'll end up in a good place. Let's continue, get these kids individually better, and then better as a team. And I think not only will the parents like the individual success, but You know they'll respect the team success, man. Let's get them to put some respect on our name out there this week, Black Sox.
Period. And we out.
All right.